Hello everyone, this is Salar and you are learning JavaScript on Smart Code. This is our tutorial number 20 and we will be talking about converting values to a string. Previously we have discussed how to convert numeric string values to real numbers. But now we will see the opposite. You will learn how to convert other values to a string. And just in our previous tutorial you have already seen values conversion to a string. So concatenation operation converts values to the string and you know that. But what you might not know is concatenation doesn't perform conversions by itself. It actually calls one of these two methods in the background, the toString method and string function, right? So for getting a string equivalent of any value, we only have these two functions in JavaScript and you are going to learn both of them in this tutorial. So let's start with toString. Let's say I have a number variable, so I can convert it to a string just by calling toString method. So the value 10 is now converted to a string. There is no change in the value. What you will get is just a string equivalent, right? You can apply to a string to a boolean value. Let's see an example. Right, so here you will get a string equivalent of boolean value, and you can even apply to a string method to a string value. So it's possible, but it won't make any difference. You will actually get a copy of a string back, right? And you can also apply to a string method to an object, right? So it's possible to apply to a string method on an object, but we need to modify the default settings of toString method. So it's an advanced topic. How do we modify the default settings of toString method? But converting an object to a string is important. For example, when we send data to a server, it must be sent as a string. So we convert an object to a string in most of the cases, but we don't do this conversion by modifying toString method. What we in fact do is we use JSON stringify method to do this job, right? So you can read more about the JSON stringify method on the internet if you are interested. And at this moment, I am not sure when I will be covering it in our future tutorials. Now take a look at the availability of toString method. The toString method is not available for all the data types, and it can only be applied to number, boolean, string, and object, and it is not available for values which are null and undefined. So an error is thrown if you apply to a string to a null value. Let's see an example. And there you see the error. It says can't read properties of null. So toString is not available for null. And you will get the same error if the variable is undefined, right? Now here comes the use of string function, and string function is available for all the types. When you apply it to the null or the undefined value, you will get the string equivalent of null or undefined. So if you're dealing with null or undefined values in your program, or you're not sure about the values, then you will use a string function instead of toString method, and it sounds logical, right? So let's see how do we apply a string function. And so you see the result in the output, right? And you can apply a string function to other values. Now in the last, before we end this tutorial, I will give you a very useful tips. As you know, concatenation do type conversion. And whenever you try to concatenate other value to the string, the final result would be string, right? Now using this technique, you can convert any data type to the string just by joining it to the null string. Let's see some examples. So this technique will work and you will get string equivalent of 5, undefined and true, because null string is actually a string value. And what I said in the beginning of this tutorial, concatenation doesn't perform conversions by itself. It calls one of these two methods in the background. So the concatenation we call toString method here and here. because toString is available for number and boolean data type. And here concatenation we call a string function because the data type is undefined, right? So now you have seen and learned how to convert other values to a string. And I have started thinking about put things together. I will do a tutorial very soon where we try to apply the concepts we learned so far. Right, so stay tuned and don't forget to tell me how this tutorial was. Just write comments under this video. I will see you in the next tutorial and thanks for watching.